Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back to another episode of the Lights Camera Discussion podcast. I'm Mass903, and if you look up Oddity in the dictionary, it says a strange or peculiar person or thing. There's also pictures of my co-hosts, Collie and Todd. Guys, welcome. How are we doing today?
Nice.
Very good.
Just looking at you, I know that you have a Pictionary, so it sounds good to
me. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Are we excited for this one? I think Collie's very excited for my one, yeah. Well, I mean, let's get straight into it, because I know we've got so much to discuss. Today, this was my choice, obviously, and today we're going to be talking about Mr. Damian McCarthy. So, Damian McCarthy is an Irish filmmaker and screenwriter who has become a prominent voice in modern folk horror. He's noted for dealing with atmospheric tension and unique scares. So we'll be covering his 3 films. They're excellent. I cannot wait to get into them because I can't wait to see what Collie thought. So let's just kind of get straight into it then. The first one we're discussing today is 2020's Caveat. So a drifter with missing memories takes a strange caretaking job on an isolated island, only to find himself chained inside a decaying house with a dangerous woman and secrets that may involve him. Well, let me get started. I've the only film. Well, this is one of the 2 films I've not seen before, so this is a first watch for me.
Why have you overcomplicated that? Just say that this is a first watch.
This is a first watch, and it was a weird one, like because it started off really promising, but then it kind of delved into a bit weirdy, sort of strange stuff for me. And yeah, there's like the use of kind of horror elements that maybe aren't fully horror. You know, like feel like it's like ghosts and stuff like that, but it's actually like mental illness and things. Was a really interesting choice, and there's some really interesting moments in it. But overall, it's kind of like a meh film for me. It was one of those that I wasn't fully sort of bought into, and I kind of never fully got into that sort of like mindset, but it was fine. It was an okay film. We know what Todd's gonna think about this, but Collie, what were your thoughts on?
Go
Caveat?
to Todd first. It's
okay.
Fine. Go first.
Okay, Todd. So you're the Shudder master here. So what were your thoughts on Caveat?
So I really enjoy it. I think it is like a sign of what's to come for Damian McCarthy. I think it is his weakest film. Spoilers for Rankins, but I think it's like it feels like a nightmare. Like that's the best way I can describe it. I know you said about like it feels supernatural, and it sort of is, and it sort of isn't. But like it's a haunted house film. Well, most of these films are haunted house films, but like it that single location, the anxiety it breeds, the use of light, sound. I think it's a really admirable debut feature.
Mm-hmm. Collie?
So at the start of our podcast, like I was really into horror. Tried to get a lot better into it. I think like this generation of horror, especially maybe the last 10 years or so, has really grown leaps and bounds. I think stories are interesting. I think payoffs, for the most part, are met and are kind of, you know, worthy of the build up and all that kind of stuff. I find, and this is going to be a common theme, that these films are what I never really liked about horror. I find them so boring. I find them cheap, like in terms of the jump scares and stuff, and just silly. Like why, like for example, in this guy like is going to be looking after the house or whatever. Fair enough. Guy hands him a little waistcoat that he has to lock onto himself. Surely at that point you're just like, nah, you're okay. Actually, I don't really want to do this. And I just, for me, it's like, well, why are you doing that? Why are you going there? Why are you looking into that? And I get, oh, it's a movie or whatever, but it disconnects me somewhat from it, because I'm like, well, you know, if you're a reasonable person, and I guess like this one's a little bit different to the other ones that we'll discuss. because there is that mental health aspect to it and the amnesia and stuff. But I just feel that some of the character choices are pretty silly, and I totally understand that, oh, well, if they made this choice, there'd be no film. And my argument to that is then, well, the film's not good enough then. If it could be simply undone by, well, don't do this or don't go there or whatever. That's all. That's kind of, and I genuinely, I know I'm writing them off because I found them boring, but I genuinely went into them with the most open mind possible. But as I watched them, I was just like, this is what I don't like about horror. And I just found them to be quite, and again, I'm overarching all three of the films, but I find them to be quite generic and not really groundbreaking compared to some other films that are out at the moment, or coming out, or have been out in the last 10 years or so. The likes of Ari Aster and Jordan Peele and your man who does weapons and stuff like that. Like, I think they're all really, really out there, and this is just a grade or two below. Still about 5 grades above Longlegs, but still, like, just this is what horror, like the side of horror that I don't really like.
That's fair. Like, so going on what you said there about the obviously decisions and stuff like that, that was one of the parts that I also didn't agree with. I thought it was because he starts off asking the right questions, and he starts off like being like, well, no, why are we doing this? But then he gets very easily turned into doing it, which just seemed a bit strange for me, for him as a character. So I totally agree with that. Like, I started writing out like, oh, at least he's asking the right questions, he's making the right decisions. Then the waistcoat with the chain comes out, and you're like, why is that not the point? I know he kind of pushes back a little bit on it, but it's too easy to turn him to be like, yeah, okay, fine. So I do totally agree with that. Yeah, I think it's a completely fair point to have. Sometimes I feel with horror you do have to suspend your imagination a bit, but I do think that it's when horror goes, if horror goes silly, then you can understand it. But I feel like this one's, or a lot of his films, he tries to keep them kind of a bit grounded as well. And that's where it kind of loses the sort of, you know, the horror decisions that people make for story purposes, because then it doesn't really make sense as it being grounded in reality sort of thing. So yeah, no, I totally get your point, Macaulay, with that. So it's quite a small film in terms of the cast, obviously, and the production location. We're talking about, as Todd said, it's almost like a haunted house film, where it's just in this one place. We've just got a couple of characters that are sort of mainly in it. Isaac is the main one, the main character, the guy with the waistcoat with the chain on it for whatever reason. What did we think of him as like a lead character? So Todd, we'll start off with yourself.
Yeah, I got that sense of being lost mentally as such. Like, he doesn't know who he is. I think I agree with you. Sorry, I didn't touch on the sort of putting on the waistcoat. I would have much preferred it if he'd agreed to have gone to the island and then got knocked out or something and then woke up in the waistcoat. I think that probably would have just solved a lot of problems. But I do think it let his character and his performance lends to the idea that if there's somebody who's going to get put in a waistcoat with a chain on it, he's the type of character who's probably going to be in that situation, because he's lost and he's a mess of a human being type thing. And I think he portrays that really, really well. I think that sort of the paranoia is his main strength almost. I loved him in this. I thought he was a real highlight in terms of the building the tension through a character, which I think is massively important.
Interesting. Collie?
Yeah, I thought he was the second best thing in the film for me. Is this Johnny French's Isaac, which is what a cool acting name, by the way. Yeah, I thought he played that kind of paranoia and the kind of creeped out sense well. I think, like, I'm not what I'm saying about the character, that's more a reflection on the writing and stuff. I think performance-wise, everyone is quite good in this. Like, they play their roles well and they're convincing. I just think that the storyline and the writing's the weakest aspect of it. But no, I enjoyed him. And if we're touching on other people, I think Layla Sykes as Olga as well. Really strong performance also.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. I think he's got this like normal everyman look, but also like he's able to like give that sense of not much behind the eyes sort of thing, which kind of help with that kind of being lost and the amnesiac.
I think his eyes are a good thing to touch on. I think he has got that little bit of mania, like manic eyes and stuff at points. I think like just big pronounced eyes and like you say, just that everyman of just like having a beard and stuff. He's not like really unkempt, but he's not clean shaven either, and there is that kind of middle ground aspect of it. But I think he does a lot with his eyes throughout the film.
Totally agree. For me though, Layla Sykes as Olga, I thought her performance was really good. Obviously there's a lot for her to do in terms of, well, not a lot, but like again in the quieter sort of moments of her, like kind of when she's in her trance, but then also when she's out and just kind of being a bit more mysterious and not exactly opening about as a character. It's kind of like a closed book, but kind of just giving little threads of information and stuff. And walking about with a crossbow as well. I thought she was really good with what she did. And then the guy Ben Kaplan as Mo. He annoyed me a bit, to be fair. He just seemed to be like that. He ended up being a bit more sleazy, but at the start, he was a bit more, I don't know, manipulating again, the way that he was able to turn Isaac into like putting on like the waistcoat and stuff. And it just seemed to be like there was always something he hadn't spoken about. Again, as a performance, I thought he did pretty well. But I'm glad he got his comeuppance towards the end. Todd, what were your thoughts on Olga and Mo?
So Layla Sykes, I thought she did an amazing job of being this sort of like recluse, because she was almost robotic in some of her delivery, and I don't think that was on this point of bad acting. I think it was on the point of like direction of she has been kept in this house. She doesn't have a lot of social interaction. She's also part of one of the most fucked up families that you could ever imagine. She's going to have that sort of weariness about her. I agree about Mo. He had that sort of almost wannabe like British gangster about him that didn't quite sell as well. And I think as antagonist or whatever you want to call him, I don't know how you describe him, but I think he was probably the weaker side of it for me. But like I say, I think Layla Sykes did an amazing job. And again, not somebody who I've ever seen in it or recognised as being in anything before, and did a very good job.
Collie?
Well, on Layla, well, like I said before, I think it was a solid performance. I think she was really convincing. I thought, like, from that kind of catatonic state that she's in at the beginning, and then comes out of it and starts playing Isaac and just confusing matters. You don't really know who to believe. It's that kind of what we're talking about previously with Cloverfield Lane and playtests and stuff. Like, you don't know if he knows what's happened and he's playing it down, or what's the truth behind the matter. And that's another thing we'll kind of touch on, is that as soon as stuff started coming out about like stuff that had happened previously, just because of the horror tropes, I'm like, he did it, or he was involved in it somehow, or there's something that, and I'm not being here like, I called it from like the first scene or whatever, but I just, as soon as it starts unraveling a little bit, you're like, well, he's not just some random guy then, is he really? Like, there must be. And as soon as amnesia's involved, you're like, well, he's obviously like done something that he's forgetting because he's like repressing it, or he's been hit in the head and he's repressing it, that kind of tropiness factor of it, I think. But everything that she was asked to do as Olga, I thought Layla Sykes was good, and I thought Ben Kaplan as Mo was okay. I think as a facilitator and stuff to move the plot along, he was fine.
Yeah, I mean, was there anything else that stood out for yourself then, Todd? Was there anything that and I know we spoke about writing and stuff in previous episodes. Was there anything that stood out of that maybe sense, or?
For me, it wasn't the writing as such. I do think it's a bit more messy, this, and I do think he works better with more linear sort of stuff. For me, it's the overall design of the film. It's the sound. I think the fox noise, which is a regular occurrence in his films, with reason and into folklore and stuff. But I think the use of light and dark, the use of the torch works really well. I think the design and the makeup is fantastic. I think the mother's corpse is an interesting one. But yeah, I think that level of things was really good. Even the waistcoat with the chain on it feels significant and feels well designed.
I would say, yeah, I definitely think the sound design is really good. I think that's something that kind of we'll talk about a bit in his other films. That's one of the parts that's really strong for me. Yeah, I like the production design of the house as well. Like how a lot of it's decayed, and the different rooms are kind of so unique in each one. Like it's not like there's not like a running theme through them. It's almost like compartmentalizes of like each parts of the house and stuff. So you could see it as like maybe like a brain or something like that as well. In the same way that he forgets stuff from amnesia. You know, it's just like imagery and stuff. And
nice, nailed it. Well done.
Thanks. Yeah, I wasn't too sold on like the makeup and stuff, especially the corpse. That for me looked really bad. I don't know. Obviously, it's, you know, if you thought it looked good, then that's fine. But it just looked schlocky for what it was. But yeah, I think generally the design of stuff was pretty good. Collie, what were your thoughts on that side of things?
Yeah, I thought they just painted her like purpley blue, to be honest. Yeah. Like, it was fine. I could tell that she was supposed to be a corpse, but yeah, I didn't think that was even worth. I didn't even take a note down about it, to be fair. But this fox noise, Todd, can you give us a recreation of it?
I don't know. Are we ready?
I'm ready. Sorry.
I don't know.
Sorry, I spoke.
That was lightning. That was lightning in a bottle, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to recreate it. Do you know what I mean?
Well, you're gonna. So
stop talking over it.
You keep just doing it out of the blue, right? I'll give you a countdown. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Ready.
Right. Everyone, be quiet. Right.
Go.
3, 2, 1.
I thought it was pretty good.
Your mic didn't even catch it. Didn't even catch it.
Are we doing it again?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. There we go.
Close enough, man.
Yeah, that'll be fine.
I was like, see when you originally made it, but then you both started talking for about 5 minutes. I was like, the ship has sailed, but I was gonna do a what does the fox say joke. So that's how far back we're going here in terms of our references.
Absolutely.
But yeah.
Well,
caveat. On that note,
that's gold. There we go.
Well, yeah. I mean, let's get into categories then. Favorite quote for me was "Barrett, I'm out. I'll send someone to get you." That actually that made me shit myself right at the end. It was a good scare.
Literally.
Yep. I muddied my pants.
Sheesh.
Todd.
Mine was like a little bit of a two-parter. It was Isaac saying, "Barrett told you this," and then he goes, "Olga, Barrett says you have some problems. Maybe you're getting confused." And I thought it was a nice little sort of like who's gaslighting who's lying to who. I thought that was really cool.
Who done it? Collie?
Mine's just a little conversation between Mo and Isaac. I don't see what the problem is. This is a job. Every job has a uniform. That's not a uniform. It's a leash, and I'm not putting it on. End of film.
But then you put it on. Okay. Favorite scene for me, I actually really liked when he first went to the house. When he was first left in the house, and he sort of like wanders through it. You get the layout really well, and it was proper atmospheric. I really enjoyed that. And again, the production design helped with that as well. Todd, favorite scene?
Using I didn't touch on it in the production design, but using the rabbit. I think the rabbit looks cool as fuck. I think it's a really cool little prop, but it also adds to the tension with the sound design as well.
See, when you say using the rabbit, that could go. if someone hadn't seen Caveat.
No, see, my head didn't go there. My head was just, I enjoyed a horror film.
Collie.
My one's like, because it made me laugh lots, was when he's trapped in with the mum and her corpse keeps moving, and then he puts the hat over her head, and then it cuts back to her and her just eyes poking out a hole in the hat. I was like, this is class. This is like just laughable.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And then MVP for me, it was McCarthy. I think it was like it's completely his film, and had the parts that he that he takes forward that maybe improves on in later films. But yeah, I think it shows of what he can do as a director. Todd?
Mine was Johnny French. I agree. I like saying his name. I don't know why. It feels like it should
It's
be
a very Hollywood name. I like it.
Yeah.
Doesn't even have a Wikipedia page though, which is a shame.
Just going under the radar. But yeah, I thought he was brilliant. Right the way through.
And Colin, your MVP?
Charlie is Dog.
Shut
No, seriously, I did have a serious design. Lisa Zagone, she was the one that when he bought the bunny, she like finalized the design. And if there's a positive that I'll take out of this film, I do like the little rabbit.
You like
and the way it's used in the film.
Okay.
By Olga in her alone moments.
Okay, doke. Let's get on to scoring it. So for me, I gave Caveat 3 stars. Todd?
I went 4.
And Collie?
2.5 for me.
Perfect. So Todd, same as Sicario, yeah?
No, Sicario is a 5-star film.
Yeah, it's a 5 for Todd, actually.
Okay, moving on to the second film from Damian McCarthy. We are on to Oddity. So, 2024, a psychic medium attempts to uncover the truth behind her sister's murder at the site of the crime. Well, first thoughts. I'd seen the opening on TikTok before. I didn't realize until I was watching it, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I've seen this. I've seen this somewhere." So it was kind of spoiled a little bit for myself. But yeah, I mean, Oddity, I would say is a pretty apt title for this. It's very strange. Yeah, again, kind of has that supernatural stuff, maybe a bit more than the sort of grounded kind of things. But yeah, again, some silly decisions and stuff, but there's quite a lot, or not quite a lot. Sorry, there's some things to like about it that I quite enjoyed. Todd, thoughts?
Yeah, I fucking love this film. I love everything, and I think once it gets going, it's in terms of the tension, in terms of the sort of the whodunit aspect of it, the characters, I thought was yeah, brilliant. And again, it's a haunted house film. Mm-hmm. It's claustrophobic. Absolutely brilliant.
Yep. Collie?
Definitely an upgrade on Caveat in terms of the settings, some of the acting performances. But story-wise, again, just found it pretty boring. Some silly decisions, some laughable decisions from a story writing aspect also. Yeah, so definitely has its pros. I did enjoy some of it, but again, like however long it is, like 90 odd minutes or maybe 100 minutes or whatever it was, just dragged for me, to be honest. Yeah, just again, that kind of schlocky, Shudder-esque horror, which to be fair, it absolutely is. It is a Shudder horror, so it's literally, you know what I'm saying it is, but I just feel that it's nowhere near where even it could have been. I think it had a lot of potential, to be honest. But just kind of descended into guy with like scary glass eye, staring through, you know, the letterbox thing or whatever the fuck it is, and yeah, just I don't know, pretty tropey if you ask me personally.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. All right. Well, let's discuss, because there's a bit more in terms of story for me, certainly with this as well, and the cast had a bit more to do. Obviously, Carolyn Bracken playing the main twins. One obviously deceased at the start, and one is a blind kind of psychic. And then obviously the husband, Ted, played by Willem Lee. Carolyn Bracken was a weird one because I thought the opening that she when the guy with the glass eyes looking through the letterbox and stuff, I thought she was really quite good there. It was quite damsel in distressy, but I think she played it pretty well. When she becomes a blind psychic, I didn't like her at all. Like, she was just, I know she was probably meant to be like that, but she was like just annoying. A lot of the stuff she said and did, a lot of her dialogue I did not like at all. Yeah, it was a really weird character that I never really kind of got or sided with, sort of thing. The husband Ted, however, I actually thought he was quite interesting. Quite a lot of layers to him in terms of like, he was a doctor. The things that like transpired with the way that he was a co-conspirator in getting his wife killed, then moving on to a new girlfriend and stuff so quickly and things, and his relationship with the blind psychic was quite interesting. So yeah, it was sort of a weird one for me because I know he was obviously the bad guy, but I actually felt more drawn towards his performance than I did with the good person, the main character, I suppose. Todd, what were your thoughts on them?
So Carolyn Bracken, I really liked. Aside from a bad wig, as Danny, I thought the wig budget was not high enough. But I thought she did a good job of them being distinct enough in terms of, like you say, the line delivery. You've got one who's obviously a lot more normal, quote unquote, where you've got one who's into the whole psychic thing. And those kind of people piss me off, like the whole psychic and all that kind of thing really annoy me. And I think she did a good job of portraying that sort of wannabe ethereal type of person. Obviously she does have powers in this film, like that is a legitimate thing that she does have. I thought she did a class job. I think she's a threat. Like, Ted is the bad guy, but she's the one that is the threat, and I think that's portrayed really well. I agree. I think the relationship between them two is a really interesting one because it feels like she knows something from the start. It feels like she's wary, and it's why she rocks up in the first place. Yeah, I liked like Willem Lee as the sort of snidey, almost sort of, do you know what I mean? That sort of slimy prick. British guy, always going to be one. English guy, always going to be one to watch out for. Piece of shit. But yeah, I thought he played it really well. I thought he played the sort of the dark side of it really well. And like, he's vindictive, but he doesn't have the balls to do it himself. Doesn't have the balls to do anything of it himself. Which I think again, it makes what happens to him and like his path that just that little bit better. I think they were both brilliant. I really enjoyed both performances, and it's part of the reason why I like this film so much.
Good stuff. Collie?
I thought they were both like solid enough. I think Carolyn Bracken, like you are saying, was distinct enough between the two roles, in her kind of, not accent per se, but just her cadence and delivery of lines, apart from the rubbish wig, which I agree, Todd. It's one of the only bad things about this film, is the wigs. But yeah, and I think Ted playing that kind of sleazy husband, from an acting performance, nails it. From a story performance, like, why are you inviting her to your house? I just didn't really understand that. I know that she was your ex's sister and stuff like that, but like, why all of a sudden after a year and stuff? And I don't know, I just found that to be a wee bit silly per se, but I thought he was good. And again, maybe it was an English thing, but there was something that I didn't like about him immediately. And Maybe it's not an English thing. I don't know. My Discord, just for our peek behind the scenes, my Discord had a shit fit after this. Maybe it's English and it didn't like me seeing that. So, for the record, love the English, best people ever. Okay. Yeah, I just found the decision making him wasn't the best, and as this kind of story unfolded, not long into it, because he plays him so like outwardly sleazy and outwardly like. Well, to be fair, actually, I think the thing that twigged for me was as soon as he speaks to Darcy and then he's like, "Oh, my girlfriend," and I'm like, "Well, there's obviously." When she's like, "Oh, you've met somebody already," I'm like, "Yeah, that sounds a bit hokey to me." And obviously, it all unravels that he was having an affair and he wanted her killed off because he didn't want to lose the house and stuff like that. Yeah, and then like all the way to these silly horror decisions at the end. Like, why does he ring the bell? Like, surely you would just be like, "Oh, it's a bet. I'll chuck it in the bin." If that was me, I'd just be like, "Yeah, well, why would you?" Even if you don't believe in that stuff, why would you just? The weird stuff's happened in the house. Just chuck it in the bin, you know. Especially for the fact that it had been mailed to you however long after the fact that she died and stuff. But yeah, and just on a movie front in general, when he rings the bell and like the last shot of the film's that bellhop or whatever beside him, I was just like, boo. I just thought it was like pure like hokey, shitty horror trope. But yeah, I'm trying to be positive about these films, and I'm not going to be like, oh well, they're not just for me. I'm trying to look at them objectively, and I try to explore them. I just find that they tick too many of the "this is what I don't like about horror" boxes, unfortunately.
And I think that's where like they tick a lot of the boxes that I really like.
I'm not for a second being like you're wrong.
No,
to enjoy these things, and I'm not saying that they're. I think like some of the decisions are quote unquote bad, but I fully like, you know, and I'm not being patronizing. I don't mean to be patronizing, but I'm like, I fully respect Damian McCarthy's ability to go and make these films and get money for these films and make these films for people that enjoy them. Like, fair play to him, because there are a lot of people out there that do. I'm just like not going to sit here and glaze something that I just didn't get or didn't like.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, what I would say about decisions, I saw it as like him being, it was a very kind of empty sort of invitation to her. Certainly for that, it was kind of more like a tick in the boxes sort of thing. But then it was when she turns up and you know, that's how I sort of kind of took it, as he didn't actually think she would turn up and stuff. He thought it was just like a tick boxy sort of thing. But yeah, no, I totally understand the other side of it as well. But that didn't annoy me as much. Moving on to something else, the Wooden Man. What were your thoughts on him, Todd?
Yeah, in terms of prop design, I think it's phenomenal. I think when you're sat with like a wide shot of the dining room and it's not quite in focus, and you just like, is it moving? Is it looking at me? I wasn't so keen, I'll be honest, of watching it walk around the house. Like that was the one thing that, like, in my first review of it, I was like, there's a moment in it that's quite silly, and it looks silly because it stops being this sort of inanimate, you know, sort of like puppet, and was very clearly just a man in a suit, and it didn't quite work as well. But I think in terms of like her, the girlfriend like taking bits out of it, and like I love that aspect of it. It like it adds to the tension, and I think because it's such a presence the whole time in that dining room, yeah, I thought it was really well utilized. Like I said, maybe didn't need to see it walking around. We could have just seen like it stood still or whatever. But yeah, I thought it was a great decision and a great design.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I think when it started walking, it looked like a Doctor Who villain, like that cheap, like sort of thing. But certainly it had a couple of good scares, like when she's looking down on it and it's like stares up, like
that was a good one. That was a good one. You're right.
Yeah. And the sort of design of it when it was sitting down, I agree. I think it was really weird and like a kind of like in like sort of a folklore-y sort of way, like a sort of traditional kind of horror thing that sort of fits with what Dame McCarthy sort of does and stuff. But yeah, when it was moving, that it totally lost it for me. Collie, thoughts on the Wooden Man?
I thought the design was sick. I think it looks really cool and really scary. Just that kind of gormless, like mouth open kind of look, and just like how it was carved out of wood and stuff. I think it just aesthetically it was pretty sick.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not a bunny though. I prefer the bunny.
What do you think of when it was moving about as well? Did you have any thoughts on that?
It was pretty hokey, but yeah. I mean, there's other things in the film that like took me out of it more, which we'll get onto with my best scene.
Fair enough. Anything else you guys want to discuss about it then, or are you happy enough to move on to like our?
Yeah, I'm happy to move on.
Todd, anything you wanted
to? No, I'm good.
Okay. Favorite quote for me, and this is something I'm going to add into my lexicon going forward. Darcy, when she turns up at the house, I'm here now. I'd like to stay if that's all right. And it's like I'm just going to start using that. Like if I'm someplace that like if nobody wants to, which is a lot of places, I'll just say that, and there's nothing else.
Just start using Zeus's law.
Yeah.
Todd will understand that reference now that you've seen the Odyssey. Well done, Todd.
Thanks.
Todd, favorite quote?
It was Darcy says, "Open that closed mind of yours," and he says, "She tried, but I'm a doctor, science and logic," because I think that is his hubris, just coming out, leading to the things that happen to him.
Love it. And Collie?
Mine's just the same as yours, Massey. I just found it to be too funny. Like
so good, isn't it?
I'm just gonna stay. I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
Favorite scenes for me was the opening scene, the one that I'd seen on TikTok. I thought it was a fantastic opening. I think it added a lot of thriller elements and a bit of horror as well. A bit of, you don't know, ambiguity as to whether Olin Bull's wanting to actually do anything to her or not. I thought it was fantastic. Todd?
I struggle to pick. I'm going to go with the end. I love the bell. I think
fuck off.
I think the time it took. I think him pressing it and it waiting. I think he's such a dickhead. It's like he was always going to press it because he thought it was bullshit, and it's almost like the last fuck you to Darcy. I do think my other one was the tent, which was really cool. Yeah. But yes, I'll go with the bell.
Collie?
Mental. Mine's was the blind person falling down the trapdoor. I thought that was amazing.
Oh, brilliant!
What script writing? What genius!
Yeah. Just asked to answer the phone. Brilliant.
Yeah, I wish she'd actually just moved to the side of her and stuck his leg out, and she tripped over.
And then laughed at her.
Or a banana skin. A banana peel would have been class.
Oh, good stuff. And finally, MVP. For me, again, it was McCarthy. Like, he just seems to nail like the tone and the atmosphere, whether it's a good story or not. He always just seems to like nail that side of things. So yeah, McCarthy for me. Todd?
Yeah, McCarthy for me.
And Collie, what dog can you choose for?
Mine's just actually Shane Whisker, who played the wooden man. He was inside the costume when it was moving. So there we go.
Perfect. Excellent. Good stuff. And ratings then? Well, I gave it 3 stars. Todd?
I give it a 5-star, and we'll continue to do so.
Collie?
2.5 for me.
Fair enough. Okie doke. And we are going on to the final one for Dame McCarthy. It was
already
this year. I know. I feel sad as you do, Collie. It is this year's Hokum. So a horror writer visits an Irish inn to scatter his parents' ashes, unaware the property is said to be haunted by a witch. This is my second view. It's my rewatch. I saw this as a secret screening in Cineworld. Had a good time with it.
Sponsor us, Cineworld.
Yeah, sponsor us. Had a good time with it at the cinema. On rewatch, it did go down a little bit for me. It's a little bit too. It's still a decent enough, but it's just a little bit too drawn out, a little bit obvious. Kind of the same sort of like hokey kind of qualities that his other films have, but I think it tried to be a bit deeper, but it didn't really sit as well for me. But yeah, it's fine enough for what it is. Todd?
Saw it twice at the cinema. This is my rewatch. fucking loved it. I think Adam Scott does. Well, the cast does an amazing job of going to Adam Scott, and he's we don't see his abs, but they're still obviously there. But yeah, I loved it. I love the tension it builds. I love the again the set design, the production of it, sound, light. I think it works really well, and is his most nightmarish film for me.
And Collie?
I thought it was pish. I just again similar. You can see the step up in budget and stuff, and getting the likes of Adam Scott in it, but I just found the writing to be really, really bad in this. I just like I've seen. I know we're going to move on to Adam Scott shortly, but I've seen McCarthy being like, "Oh, I deliberately wanted you to like not like him and want the horror to punish him, and then I made him more redeemable as the script and story progressed." And I was just like, "Nah, I just thought he was a prick all the way through, and I just didn't really like agree with the reasoning and the whole like." Gunn and his mum reveal, I just thought was pretty like, where's that come from? And the whole like sequences shown at the end, at the start and the end of like what his book is, like in the middle of a desert, like some conquistador or whatever. I just found that to be so jarring, like so unnecessary. I was like hoping at the start when you watched it, I thought it was going to be like Jumanji. Do you know, like they'd find something in the ground and it would like have been in the aftermath of the story, but nah, it was just in his mind writing his shitty book.
Couldn't be that shit. He sold a lot, and he's a nice house and stuff as well. So
very nice house, actually. To be fair, very nice house.
I mean, just kind of, we'll just piggyback on the back of that for Adam Scott then as well. Is I totally agree. I think he's irredeemable. Like, to me, he's just an absolute knob the whole time, and I never feel sympathy for him at all. Even when he kind of at the end is able to face what he's done and stuff. Like, I understand what they're trying to get at, but he's just horrible to people throughout the whole thing. He's selfish in that he, when he tries to take his own life and he just the way that he goes about things, burning the bellboy's hand and stuff, and just speaking to him like he's a lower form of human. Just it didn't sit well with me. I thought he was like, it's Adam Scott, so it's like an actual actor and stuff. And I thought instead of being a good part of the movie, instead of being like bringing levels up, it just, because of the character, it almost brought it down a little bit. To be perfectly honest, I didn't like his character whatsoever. Todd, what were your thoughts on him?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't like the character. I thought he was a piece of shit, and I agree. I do think he was irredeemable. I sometimes enjoy watching the protagonist go through the gamut of like, or that the whole sort of like pushing him through the horror, especially when they're a piece of shit. I think some of it was a bit over the top, like burning the bellboy's hand and the you have to have thicker skin type thing. Like, that was a bit on the nose. But I do like watching him go through the shit and having to sort of unpack everything. Which, yeah, and I think Adam Scott is a great choice for it, because he's not like your leading man. He's not. Do you know what I mean? There's not been films where he's been the big blockbuster, but he's also not a no-name either. He's like sort of that. We know him for a lot of TV stuff, and I think he did a fantastic job of what he was given, and I can appreciate that maybe the character wasn't the best written, but yeah,
fair enough. Enjoyed it. Anything you want to add, Collie, or are you happy enough with Adam Scott?
I think he was really miscast. I just didn't think Adam Scott was the right choice. Do you know, actually, like just after our discussion today, I think the likes of like Wyatt Russell or something like that would have been better in it. I think he has that underlying dickishness to him, whereas like any dickishness that Adam Scott ever portrays in a film, for me, just makes me think of Derek, and it just makes me laugh. I just don't find him to be very convincing in it, and I would say like he is quite a sympathetic actor. Like, you could draw sympathy out of me if written correctly, but I just didn't think he was a very good choice. Like more power to him for wanting to do stuff like this, but I just don't. It wouldn't have been my pick.
Fair enough. Again, a relatively small cast. We've got Peter Coonan as Mal, David Owen as Jerry. We've got Michael Patrick as Fergal, Will O'Connell as I'll Be the Bellboy, Brendan Conroy as Cobb, and then Florence Ordesh as Fiona. For me, like the standouts, like I thought Fiona's the actress who played Fiona was great. I thought she had like a load of charisma. Sorry, and I would have loved to seen more of her. She obviously killed off quite soon on, but then even in the afterlife, the voice notes and stuff that she left, I thought that were creepy and horrifying. I really enjoyed her performance, and I would have I think it was kind of missed having her in the rest of the film. Jerry as well as being the kind of man in the woods sort of savior kind of guy. I thought he was quite fun in what he did. Like he was almost a bit like that lightheartedness kind of. But yeah, I quite enjoyed his performance, and then of course Mal being the antagonist. He was a little bit over the top. And again, it's kind of like the choices that were made were maybe a bit silly and stuff as well. But he was quite a good, with what he did, he was quite a good sleazy kind of guy, much like the Doctor in the previous one as well. I thought he did a pretty good job. Anyone want to do that for yourself, Todd?
Yeah, I agree on Florence Ordesh as Fiona. I think she was brilliant. I think she was that sympathetic. I believe the women's intuition thing that they joke about, that like that she felt that she wanted to go in and help. I believe that. I love Jerry. I think you have these sort of local characters, and I think in a film like this, that sort of comedy-esque character, the sort of comedy relief, might often feel a bit out of place. But I think, like you say, you have these local characters who would be like that. Especially in these little sort of really rural areas of Ireland, and I think he was the perfect red herring. It was never going to be him. It was never going to be him, and you knew it wasn't. But I think it was a good sort of. I like this the sort of sidebar of what he'd done and how he treated family, and I thought it was a good parallel with Orm's life. But yeah, I enjoyed his performance as well.
Coley?
Yeah, I thought they were both great performances. I thought Jerry was good fun, especially the first conversation about grinding and making up his own magic mushrooms and stuff was good fun. I would have liked to have seen more of Fiona, but I understand story wise she had to go when she did. I didn't really like Peter Coonan as Mal the desk again, like kind of, I don't know, just looked a bit of a baddie. So like when it all kind of comes out, you're just not surprised by it. No twists or anything like that, which I'm not saying every movie needs to have a twist or that, but I found it hard to be invested in it.
That's fair enough. Absolutely fine. Okay, I mean, was there anything else you guys wanted to speak about in terms of the film, the writing, Todd, anything?
Again, it was just the design, the production design, in terms of like, again, having those the fox screams and that parallel with the banshee and the witch and all that kind of thing. The design of Jack the Jackass and kind of having that nightmarish quality again, I thought was really cool. And the sculptures and stuff that we saw around of like the little kids going into the woods and stuff, which just alluded to folklore, which I thought was cool, just to like let you do a little bit more digging as such. But yeah, I thought that, again, production design was excellent.
Yeah, and I think on the back of that as well, the cinematography of it as well was a step up from what it had been as well. I think there was a lot of really good looking shots. So yeah, no, I totally agree with that as well. All right, we'll just go into our bits and pieces then. So favorite quote for me, it's a bittersweet one. It's when Jerry opens the kind of door thing and says to "I'll live," and then just gets scudded in the head with with an arrow or a bolt. It was like I said, kind of bittersweet in that he just kind of helped him, but yeah, I did laugh at it a little bit. Todd,
mine's he is to bleak endings. I love that from the first viewing.
Fair enough. Collie?
It's mine when Ohm says it's all Hokum. That was very good.
The Peter Griffin thing when he.
Yeah.
All right, favorite scene for me. It was the witch being released, so it was kind of more a sequence than the scene, I suppose. And you're crawling up the thingamajiggy, and then kind of circling around the bed and stuff as well. Like that was super intense and really really creepy. And I remember I was with Jimbo at the Secret Scream, and I remember holding on to him very tightly when that was happening. So, Todd.
I'll go with my second choice then, which was the Jack the Jackass scene. I think as an old man who grew up with a CRT TV, it was like nightmarish. It was one of those things that felt like he was going to wake up and it was all a nightmare type thing, but obviously not. I thought it was really well done.
Collie?
I thought that looked just to reply to. I thought that looked terrible. I thought that was one of the weakest moments of the film.
Really?
Yeah, I just. But my favorite one was what Massey said with the witch and stuff like that. I thought it was intense. It was pretty scary.
Very very scary. Right. So MVPs. For me, it was Steve Flanagan, the sound designer. I thought the sound design in this one was again another step up. Could have ever been cinematography, but yeah, Steve Flanagan, the sound designer, I thought was, especially with like the underground the underground sort of stuff. Like there was a load of things happening there. There was one moment I wanted to touch on was when the hotel was on fire and the fire alarm was going, and it eventually kind of slowed down into like a howling, which I thought was a really cool touch. I really enjoyed that. Todd.
Mine's McCarthy again. I can't look past it. I think he's got his own style, and it's something that I just get dragged into every single time. That some people don't.
Collie?
I'm gonna go with David Wilmot as Jerry. I thought I'll pick a semi-serious one for the last film.
Fair
I thought he was good fun.
Good stuff. Yeah, let's get on to our ratings of it. So for me, it was 3 stars. Todd?
I went 5 with this one as well.
Fair enough. And Collie?
2.5.
2.5. You just don't like fun, do you?
That's it.
All right. Well, that is Damian McCarthy done and dusted. We will go into our rankings of them now. So from 3 to 1. For me, it was Oddity, then Hokum, then Caveat was the better one, I thought. Todd?
Mine's release order. Caveat, Oddity, Hokum.
Fair enough. And Collie?
Mine's just Caveat, Hokum, and then Oddity.
Fair enough.
All different.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's never happened before, is it?
I think you should go back through every episode and check.
Find out.
Yeah, I might do. I might have to, yeah. But yeah, that is our Damian McCarthy over. So whose choice is it next then? Who's the next director we're discussing? I think it's
mine. Therefore, we're going to be doing a good director. Yippee! We are going to be discussing Alejandro González Iñárritu. We are going to be discussing his 8 films, including his upcoming one. So we're going to be covering 2000's Amoros Perros, and then 2003's 21 Grams, 2006's Babel, 2010's Beautiful, 2014's Birdman, or The Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance, 2015's The Revenant, 2022's Bardo, False Chronicle of a Handful of Truths, and 2026's Digger.
Digger. Excellent. I'm excited for that one. Very excited for that one. But guys, again, thanks so much for watching, for listening. I'm sure you guys had as much of a good time as Collie did on this one as well. If you're on Spotify, remember to follow, give us 5 stars. If you're on YouTube, subscribe, like, let us know what you thought, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye.